Okay, my friends, this video is going to be on how to use the law of cosines. Okay, so the first question people say is, when? When should I use the law of cosines? You are going to use the law of cosines when you do not have a right triangle and you do not have an angle and its opposite side. In other words, if we look at this first example, there's nothing here that tells us it's a right angle, so it's not. As a matter of fact, if you did the Pythagorean theorem would not work, okay? So it's not a right triangle, and I don't have a match. Like I don't have angle F and segment F, or I don't have angle G and segment G, or I don't have segment H and angle H. So in other words, law signs won't work either. So the only thing that will work, the only thing that's remaining, the only tool left in our toolbox is the law of cosines. It is the law of cosines. So we're a little fat. Here we go. So we're going to write law of cosines in here. All right. So now we're going to find an angle. And it doesn't matter which angle you find first. I always like to find the largest angle first. There's no specific reason why. But I know H is going to be largest. And I know H is going to be largest because H is the largest line segment. So I'm going to choose to find angle H first. So I'm going to choose to find angle H first. And since I'm choosing to find angle H first, I'm going to use the rule that says cosine of H is equal to F squared and G squared minus H squared divided by twice FG. So I'm going to use that rule because I am looking for the angle H. I'm looking for the angle H. So the key here, my friends, is this, that if we are looking for H, whoa, don't know why I went that route. If we are looking for H, then H needs to be the one that is subtraction, and the other two segments that are given need to be all the other numbers in the problem. So, having said that, let's write the rule. The rule, using our information, is cosine of H, which I do not know, is equal to 32 squared and 47 squared minus 71 squared, all of that divided by twice 32 times 47. And so then we're going to type that in our calculator. 32, 47, 71. 32, 47, 32, 47, and 71, because I know I will never remember those numbers. All right, my friends, so then we're going to grab our calculator. And when you grab your calculator, you should always be certain that it is in degrees and not radians, because you can do the entire math problem correctly and have it in radians and you will get totally the wrong answer. So we're going to ensure that we are in degrees. We are now in degrees. Because I am looking for an angle, because I'm looking for cosine of an angle, I'm going to hit second cosine. To make life easier, I'm going to open a fraction. And in the numerator of that fraction, I'm going to put 32 squared. I am going to add 47 squared. I am going to subtract 71 squared. And then I'm going to move to the denominator. And in the denominator, I'm going to put 2 times 32 times 47. And I'm going to hit enter. And voila, my angle is 126.9 degrees, 126.9. So I'm going to go here, and H comes out to be 126, make that a little larger, a little thicker, 126.9. 126.9 degrees. And I know this is 32, and I know this is 47. Those should be black. I know this was 32, and I know this was 47, and I know this was 71. All right. Now, I can use law of cosines again to find angle F or to find angle G. Or I can use law of sines because now I have a match. So right here I have a match. So if I want to use law of sines, I can. If I want to choose law of sines, I will choose law of sines. If I want to use law of sines, I am going to say sine of G over the side that goes with G, which is 47. See, they go together, is equal to sine of 126.9 degrees divided by the 71, because they go together. And then to isolate that, I am going to take the denominator, the divided by 47, and I'm going to multiply by 47. So in my calculator, I am going to calculate 47 sine 126.9 degrees divided by 71. 47 sine. Okay, so I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to hit second, and now I'm going to hit sine. All right, and I'm going to open my fraction, and I'm going to type in 47 sine 126.9 over 71. And I'm going to get 31.96, which is 32 degrees. 32 degrees. So G is 32 degrees. Now, if I did not want to do it that way, if that is not something I wanted to do, then I could have taken, let's get smaller, a little thick still. I could have taken cosine G, and I could have said 32 degrees, 32 units plus 71 squared minus 47 squared over twice times 32 times 47. So all I did was swap the G and the H. All I did was swap the G and the H. So if I was on my calculator, back when I had this problem, all I'm going to do is swap the G and the H. So I'm going to change this to a 71. I'm going to change this to a 47, and I'm going to change this to a 71, and I should get 31 point, oh look at that, exact same number, 31.94. So actually on this one we'd probably write down 31.9. Canvas, this is Leonard, should have both answers in the answer key, so 31.9. So if we did it this other way, we'd have 31.9 degrees, and both answers should be in Canvas. All right, both should be in Canvas. So if both are in Canvas, we should be fine. Now then, to find the missing angle, all we need to do are take these two angles and subtract them from 180. So I should take 180 minus 126.9 minus 32. 180 minus 126.9 minus 32. And I get 21.1. So this one would be 21.1. Or if I use the other one, if this was 126.9, and that's 31.9, 26.9 and 31.9, then my other answer would have been 180 minus 126.9 minus 31.9, then that one would have been 21.2. Duh. 21.2. 21.2. And again, both sets of answers should be in there, okay? Either this set of answers should be in Canvas. Oh, really? This set of answers should be in Canvas, or the other set of answers should be in Canvas. So at any rate, we have used law of cosines to solve that triangle. All right? If we have this problem, again, the question comes, solve the triangle. So we're going to do this. We're going to say that it is not a right triangle. And you might be like, well, how do you know it's not a right triangle? Here's the deal. I don't know that it is. There's nothing there indicating this is a right triangle. So I'm going to say it's not. All right. Second, whoops, my desk slid a little bit. Second, I do not have an angle and its opposite side. In other words, even though I do have an angle F, I don't have segment F. So that is not F and F. That didn't sound good. I do not have an angle G and a segment G. So I can't do that. I don't have an angle H and a segment H. So no law of sines. So law of sines is out. So I can't use any of the right triangle information, and I can't use any of the law of sines information. So the only thing left, the only thing remaining is law of cosines. So I'm going to use law of cosines. And when I use law of cosines, the very first thing I need to find is F. Because I have the angle F, now I need segment F. So if I need segment F, I am going to use the law of cosines that says F squared is equal to G squared plus H squared minus twice GH cosine of F. I'm going to use that rule right there. That is the law of cosines. So I am going to say F squared is equal to 23 squared and 29 squared minus 2 times 23 times 29 cosine of 17 degrees. So the only thing I don't know is F. The only thing I do not know is F. However, F is not isolated. So in order to isolate F, in order to get F alone, I'm going to undo F squared. And I'm going to undo F squared by taking the square root. I'm going to undo F squared by taking the square root. So I have a 23, a 29, and a 17. And so on my calculator, I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm looking for a segment. So I'm going to go straight to it. I'm going to say I want the square root of 23 having been squared plus 29 having been squared minus twice times 23 times 29 cosine of the angle I was given, which was 17. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to get 9.71. So 9.71 is going to be my answer. So for my answer, I'm going to say 9.71. So this right here is 9.71. So this is 9.71. And what else did I have? I had that this was 17 degrees. I had that this was 23. I had that this was 29. And now, if I want, I can use law of sines to find G. If I want to use law of sines to find G, I can, because now I have a pair. I have the F's. I have capital F and lowercase f. I can use law of sines. So if I use law of sines, my pen just died. Come back to me. Okay. If I want to use law of sines, there, I would say sine of g over 23 is equal to sine of 17 degrees over 9.71. So I could do that if I wanted to. And then, of course, the way we're going to type that in our calculator is we're going to take this and we're going to put it right there. If I don't want to do that, I could say cosine of g is equal to 9.71 quantity squared plus 29 squared minus 23 squared divided by 2 times 9.71 times 29. You know what? I'm going to use parentheses instead of the big dots, but since I have a decimal number. So I'm going to put a parenthesis around this, and well, that's just as sloppy. A parenthesis around this, and a parenthesis around this, just so my decimal doesn't get lost. So one of those two will give me the exact same answer. It doesn't matter if you go pink with law of sines. It doesn't matter if you go Pepto-Bismol pink with law of cosines. Totally your choice. So let me write these down because you guys know me. Mrs. Leonard's memory is sketchy at best. So this, or 9.71 squared plus 29 squared minus 23 squared over all that. So I can either go to my calculator, right? And on my calculator, I can go second sine of this fraction, and it would be 23 sine of 17 divided by 9.71. Or if I don't like that method, I could go second cosine of the fraction, and I could type in 9.71 quantity squared plus 29 quantity squared minus, mind you, 23 quantity squared divided by 2 times 9.71 times 29. And I should get, fingers crossed, oh my goodness, look at that, the exact same answer. And we're looking for an angle, so 43.8 degrees. So 43.8 degrees no matter what method we use. G is equal to 43.8 degrees. Or if we went with law of sines, pink please, G is equal to 43.8 degrees. It does not matter who you use, which one you use, 43.8 degrees. So now, to find H, we're going to take 180 minus those. So that would be 60.8. 180 minus 60.8. So it's going to end in a 2.2. And so 180 minus 161, 71, 19? No. 119? Heck, I don't know. No. Maybe? Yes? I don't know. 43.8 and 17. So 180 minus, I forgot the numbers, minus 17 and minus 43.8. Were those the numbers? 119.2. I should believe in myself. A little more faith, Mrs. Leonard. 119.2 degrees. And there we have it, my friends. Da-da-da! That is how you use the law of cosines. Have a great day. You guys got this. Let me know if you have a question.